Welcome back. My name is Robert Newman. I'm the founder of InboundREM. I'm likely the most experienced real estate online marketing consultant and certainly one of the top real estate SEO guys in the entire country. I've been doing it a long time and worked with thousands of realtors. So, having said that, today we're going to talk about 6 common problems realtors have with Google business profiles and their solutions. But before I get into that, I'm going to give everybody one historical little bit of a hack. This is a hack that you won't hear on any other channel. I quite literally guarantee it. You're going to hear it first. All right? So get your pens, pencils, save this video, bookmark it, like it. Trust me, you're going to want to. So many years ago, Google used to have another tool called Google+. Right? You might think that I've gone off on a tangent. I haven't. I promise. Bear with me. And Google+ was a social media website. It was their answer to Facebook at one time. Well, it was around for about 7 or 8 years. They invested millions, if not billions of dollars into it. They had massive teams running it. And all that people ended up using Google+ for was to list their businesses because Google allowed you to do 2 important things off Google+. One, create a business profile. And a lot of people would go to Google+ to look for business information. And number 2, and hear me on this, they more accurately collected data for something called an author profile. Now, an author profile is where they would look at your username and they would connect how well people were connecting into your content, blog posts, posts on Google+, things like that. And through other technical measurements of how, many of which were how people engaged with your content that you produced, Google got an understanding of how you individually, the quality of your messaging. And guess what? The Google+ profile would be about a 10, like the author profile on it would be like somewhere around a 10 or 15% bump in your ability to rank content on Google. And just so we're all clear, that includes these days Google business profiles, YouTube, and traditional Google search, and Google Maps. There's now 4 primary quadrants. There's a 5th quadrant if you count Google News, because you can get into Google News and rank simply as an author. But guess what? A number of years ago, they closed down Google+. And when they closed Google+ down, they left a clear message to all of us. They said, we're going to keep a lot of the functionality in place. We're just not going to use it. All right? Now, fast forward to today. This is all 3, 4, 5 years ago. They moved much of the Google+ team into the Google business team. Okay, they transferred those people into this department, the Google Business Profile Department. And one of the things that they did, or that I believe that they're doing, it has not been confirmed by anybody, is I believe that they're going back and they're using some of this old functionality that used to be present on Google+. And the reason that I've explained this all to you is that very few people have been around long enough to understand how Google+ used to work and how that might impact these Google profiles today. There's 3 things that are happening right now that very few people, actually nobody that I've seen, are talking about. Number 1, you can become something called a local guide, which is using most of the same principles as Google author profiles. In other words, Google is tracking and telling you that they're tracking how people are responding to your content. Sound familiar? Except now what they've done is they've attached it to being a guide. You're on your phone, you go to a restaurant, Google says, would you like to leave a review for that restaurant? Certain people are getting scores. They've gamified this functionality. And you can become like a master local guide. There's titles to it. Now, I'm one of them. But guess what? One of the main things that ranks Google profiles in my belief system is, can Google verify that the people who are reviewing you are high quality content producers? In other words, they're trustworthy, they're reliable, and they have good messaging that helps the Google ecosphere. And if the answer to all those questions is yes, of course, they apply that 10 to 15% credibility bonus. Why wouldn't they? Because they're using all the other functionality that they already used to use in Google+. So They're using it in a number of other ways, but I'm going to tell you what, I've given you one really big ranking factor that nobody else is talking about right now that I do talk to my customers about. There's two more I'm not going to mention. I'm literally going to be really salesy here and say, if you want to know what the other hidden elements are that can help a Google profile rank that have to do with this old code and programming and functionality that they transferred from Google Plus into the Google Business Profile ecosphere, you're going to have to call me. There will be a number down at the bottom of this video, and you can schedule an appointment with me and we can talk about the other factors beyond the one that I just mentioned to you. In the meantime, having given you that hack, we're now going to talk about the most common problems that realtors have with their Google profiles. So I actually have discovered that time and time again that I run across the same problem with agents. Some agents are like, I've paid other companies, Easy Local or YZ, or there's so many of them. Bright Local, White Spark, I can go on and on. There's so many of them. So many people that are doing local profile optimization. And they're like, oh no, it's not working. It's not good. It doesn't, as a matter of fact, you'll see here, I hired somebody and my rankings got worse. So I'm going to answer two things at once, because oftentimes duplicate listings are put in because you hire more than one company. Also, guess what? There's something called data aggregators out there, and data aggregators grab your data without asking you. And so when you hire somebody, what they tend to do is go out and place what is called a citation. It's a name, address, and phone number in places that the directories that are important, that Google considers credible, because they consider all of this ways to verify that you are a credible business owner. Okay, so duplicate listings happen all the time through data aggregators, through hiring too many companies, through many, many different ways. And you know what the only solution is? If you've been at this a while and had really terrible results and hired a few different people, you must have somebody manually go through and remove your name from the data aggregators, update your address in each one of these locations, and do it manually. Automated tools not only do not work, they make everything worse. So when you're talking to somebody who's a platform, like Easy Local, or anybody that basically has like Local Falcon, there's so many of them. Anybody that has a system and they're like, oh, we'll automatically go do this. Oh, it sounds so sexy. And it's horrible. It's horrible for what you're trying to achieve. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I tried to use Bright Local. I've tried to use the automated tools, and I've discovered through manual review of hundreds of realtor profiles that almost universally these tools make things worse with things like bad listings, duplicate listings, bad information. And when they propagate it automatically, you're constantly trying to chase these problems down. The only real solution is to hire somebody that does it high touch, verifies your listings, manually goes to the data aggregators, the big places that distribute data to everybody else, get the accurate information there, make sure they don't pull it from anywhere else while you're in that process. And you literally oftentimes have to talk to customer service at these institutions to make all this happen. All right, 6 common problems. Bad reviews. Oh, woo! God, this should probably be number 1. You all know you're real estate agents. It is very difficult maintaining a good review profile. It is like anybody that's in property management, you have bad reviews. Like if you have a property management element to your website, like to your business, you probably have bad reviews. Getting bad reviews is part of being in real estate for a lot of agents, like 80% of all agents. So I constantly get questions about this, bad reviews. And the answer to bad reviews is go check out the InboundREM Google Business Profile. Just Google what I just told you. Okay, I have one bad review. And what I did there, my response to that bad review is the answer to this. What do you do? The solution is long-form, written, manual responses that explain what happened. You need that for 2 reasons. You can, as I'm going to tell you later, there are ways to get in touch with Google, which are like number 5 and 6 on this list. But guess what? These bad reviews are oftentimes opportunities to sell yourself better to an audience. And number 2, if you have a bad review, you can't just reach out to these support systems without first showing Google that you did what you could on your own to retort to or / discredit the bad review. Because some of the times people can maliciously hire fake humans to come and bad review you too, which is another problem that is prolific in the real estate industry, is people literally leaving bad reviews because they've been paid to. All right? Now, this is number 3, and when I actually agree to work with realtors on their local profiles, the number 1 problem that I run into past that point is location verification, okay? Once people understand how local works, because it's all based on location. Even if I do rank you, I can only rank you to, like, in the first month or so within a couple miles of your office, and then in the preceding months I can get you 4 miles away or 5 miles away or 10 miles away or 15 miles away. As we do a better and better job and work with you for a longer period of time, what that does is it widens your circle of influence so that you're ranking for best realtor in, so I live in Van Nuys, but I'm part of Los Angeles County. So instead of being best realtor in Van Nuys, which is a very small city, 3 miles square, it would be best realtor in Los Angeles, and my name pulls up. And obviously, within a city of 7 million and hundreds of thousands of homes, you can imagine how valuable it would be if you could ever be best realtor in Los Angeles, or even into the top 3 anywhere. That would be crazy, right? But it starts with verifying your location. It's 100% based on your physical location. So most, if not all, realtors that I talk to try to do their office location. And when you say your office location, number 1, you're saying you want to optimize for around your office. Most realtors don't live in their office or around their office. And then number 2, what you're saying is you want to compete against every single other agent that works out of your office that has that address. And all of that's doable. It's doable. But oftentimes I've discovered that many realtors live in the cities that they'd most prefer to work in. And not to mention, that gives you a natural marketing and sales advantage if you live in the city that you'd like to represent. Like if you'd like to represent properties in Van Nuys and you live in Van Nuys, it just goes to show how much you love the area. It's a natural selling tool the second you talk to somebody. You don't have to be that great of a salesperson for somebody to say, oh, you live there. Yes, I do. And I have lived there. And I love it. And that's such an easy, natural way to get into listing agreements, sellers, buyers contracts, so on and so forth. Can't verify your location. So guess what, guys? This comes back to doing video, proving that you're someplace. So if you have a business license for your office, the number 1 thing that I've discovered is that agents are not readily, mentally or emotionally prepared to answer the questions if they're even lucky enough to get a hold of Google support. So you have to go through a manual support process, which is extremely time consuming. And what they end up requiring of you is a video proving that you've got signage, that you're at the location, and a number of other things. Okay, it's all based on you being able to prove the location, and they usually require video. However, what you can do to pre-prepare for this is you can have some incorporation documentation ready, or an LLC, any incorporation that lists your home address, that is proper business information, including perhaps a bank account that lists your home address as the address where the business is located, are all ways that you can turn a non-verification into a verified location. And it's worth the time if you happen to live in the area you most want to work in. Failing all of that, okay? Honestly, you can also hire a company to do it. Preferably us. We're probably the best at it. We certainly have gone through this process many different times. And we have not 100%, but we have about a 95% success rate in getting people verified for their location. I hired someone to help and my ranking got worse. Well, it's mostly through duplicate listings, automated tools, no personal attention to the account, and a wide variety of other things. Please, for the love of God, you don't have to hire anybody, but stop hiring automated services that charge you $1,000 and say they're going to handle all of your local and have it not be a problem. It doesn't happen that often anymore that those services are successful. I've already explained why. Getting in touch with Google support. Most people seem to have a hard time doing this. So for your edification and for this video, we've gone ahead and listed the URL. It'll also be down in the bottom. You can get help with Google support. As far as I know, there's only one way to do it anymore. That's this, support.google.com/business/get help. And last but not least, where can you get help with specific questions about my profile? That is different. This is your Google business profile, so where can you get questions answered? That is support.google.com/business/community. That is a forum that is on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 5. But it is the only way that you can get specific questions, and most of the great answers come from diamond level or higher members of that community on those profiles. I am not one. I don't have the time, but you can get a lot of great answers there. Specific questions about my profile to help improve it, fix problems, get some of the answers that I just gave you on your own without my help. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Robert Newman. Give it a thumbs up or a like if you did. And if you don't want to give me any kind of acknowledgement whatsoever, I get you, man. I do. I understand, but I would really appreciate it if you did. That's it. Stay tuned for the next video.